Later this morning, Vice President Kamala Harris is headed to Florida to speak on protecting the freedom to learn and teach the country's history. This coming as the state's Board of Education approves new standards for the teaching of Black history. National correspondent Alex Miller explains some critics say it's a step back.
Members, we're going to take a 10-minute break.
A chorus of boos from audience members as the Florida Board of Education approved a controversial new curriculum for African American history. Yet Wednesday's vote was unanimous. Education Commissioner Manny Diaz Jr. vehemently defended the decision.
If anyone takes the time to actually look at the standards, you can see that everything is covered from elementary school, where we start talking about those who have been prominent African Americans, and as age appropriate, we go into some of the tougher subjects, all the way into the beginnings of the slave trade, Jim Crow laws, civil rights movement, everything that occurred throughout our history.
But education and civil rights advocates say otherwise, arguing key historical facts about the Black experience are missing from this new curriculum, and students should be allowed to learn the full truth of American history.
We have an obligation to continue to speak up and lift our voices and let the state know that they owe a responsibility to adhere to the Florida statute and teach Black history in its fullness.
Perhaps the biggest issue for critics, a section in the state's summary of the new standards, which include instruction on, quote, how slaves developed skills which, in some instances, could be applied to their personal benefit. A coalition of groups, including the Florida Education Association Teachers Union, is calling for a rejection and redrafting of the standards. The battle over the new curriculum is the latest in the ongoing dispute between Governor Ron DeSantis and Florida's African American communities and educators. Last year, DeSantis signed the Stop Woke Act, a piece of legislation that restricts how race is discussed in schools and workplaces. It prohibits instruction that could make people feel they bear responsibility for historic wrongdoings because of their race, sex, or national origin. And earlier this year, the Education Department rejected a pilot version of an AP African American Studies course, saying it lacked educational value. Alex Miller, Scripps News.
Thank you, Alex. Last year, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that looked to protect students and teachers from ever feeling, quote, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress because of their race, sex, or national origin.